Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the 2014 Grawemeyer Award Lecture for Music Composition. I know there's some competing events this afternoon, so we're glad that you have joined us here today. First of all, bear with me, I've got some kind of throat infection and my voice is really not up to par. Let me say that one of the great pleasures of being associated with this award is that every year I discover at least a couple of terrific composers I was previously unaware of. That happened in this case. I must confess I was not aware of Mr. Zivkovic or his music until this piece was entered. I remember that as I was listening to it for the first time, about 30 seconds into it I was thinking, this is really a good piece. A couple of minutes into it and I was thinking, this could go all the way. And finally, when I finished listening to it all the way through, I knew that it was definitely in that small elite pool of entries that might just take the prize in the end. And I was not the least surprised when, in fact, it did so. I won't belabor Djuro's resume, since you have that in front of you, and I will leave it to him to describe his piece. But let me just say that in the less than 24 hours since he arrived from Stockholm, I find it to be personally as engaging as his music is, and I think it's going to be a wonderful week having him here with us. Please welcome Đuro Živković.
Thank you very much, Mark, for these wonderful words. Dear ladies and gentlemen and students. I'm very happy to be here with you, and of course it's a great honor to get this award. It's really something big in a composer's life. You know, the previous winners were the most famous composers in last I can say 50 years, because some of them got this prize when before they will die. So I'm really I can't express this feeling, of course. I will speak a bit about my music, about this piece, and I will also show a video that I made of this piece, for this piece actually. And then on the end, I hope that you will have some questions, or not necessarily questions, comments or whatever, so that we can interact. Yes, this piece was composed in 2011. I got commissioned from a very famous ensemble from Vienna called Klangforum Wien. It's one of the really most fantastic music groups. They like Ensemble Intercontemporain from France, or London Sinfonietta, and Klangforum really are exceptional, top class. So I was really happy to get commissioned from them. They played my music before and it was a really nice experience. I knew that they can play basically anything a composer can write. So you can write whatever they will play, whatever rhythm they will play. So it was a bit pressure for a composer to know that there is no limit in instrumentation or technical difficulties. So on the beginning of my composing of this piece, I had a lot of rewritings, a lot of difficulties to focus on what I want to get. I can say that I composed this piece from June 2011 until October, like 4 months approximately. And first 2 months I just wrote, I think, 5 pages of the piece, approximately 1 minute. And then next month I wrote like maybe 10 pages. And the last month I wrote the rest of 70 pages. So it was like really compressing. What was the most difficult for me was to get what I really dreamed of. And I can say that without thinking too much about myself, but this music it means something for me, and because I put so much of all my experience in this music. I put all my technical capabilities, all my aesthetical ideas, all my spiritual ideas and emotional all feelings. So I really try to put everything. And the way how I did it is that I didn't want to compromise about anything. And I think that is the way how we all artists should do. I know that I throw away maybe more than one piece, because I write and then this is not good, and I write and then this is not good, and I write like 2 minutes and then it is not good, and like this is like a cow eating and then again swallowing and then eating and swallowing, so until you really get digested everything. So the music is I can say also that this music I wrote in middle of Sweden, in a very countryside. I don't know how you have which picture of middle Sweden you can have, but it's really like kind of forests and fields, empty fields, and just one house and then nothing, and then one house more and then nothing. It's a really empty space. And all these houses, wooden houses, red houses with white edges, borders, like that. This is very typical Swedish. There was a house without electricity, without water. I got it. It was a very old house. Nobody lived inside. So it was great to work there. Completely silence. No fridge. No sounds from nothing. It was really good. So I could get completely silence and completely peace at that moment of composing. However, the piece is the idea, or the whole base of the piece is not from Sweden. It's actually long time ago based philosophy from very south of Europe, from Greece, and from maybe like 5th century, and this is the piece is based on my reading of spiritual text called Philokalia. That is actually it's a collection of spiritual texts made by 2 Greek monks. This collection is from spans between 5th or 4th century until 12th or 13th century. Many different texts are included there. And I read this in my, when I get tired of composing, then I read these texts, and when I tired of reading, then I compose. And so it was a really nice experience. Why on the Garden of the Heart? There was a friend of mine, conductor. He told me, you know, every time when I say about your piece to another conductors or ensembles, I say, don't take care about the title, just listen to the music. It sounded too much pretentious or too much clear or too much. It was. But I think that all extremes are, in my case, but I also think that extremes are necessary in the art. Of course, extremes in a good way. When we see like Stravinsky, it's extreme. When we see Bach, it's also extreme, because if it's not extreme, anyone can reach that extreme. So to make extreme in everything is kind of very artistic. And also, when we go to theater, everything is very extreme, not just normal. what we should find, what we can find outside on the street. So I told him, yes, this is extreme, and I like this extreme. So on the Garden of the Heart is actually, there is one text called On the Garden of the Heart, but not just that text did inspire me, but the whole text from this collection. What is on the Garden of the Heart? Actually, it is the way how we can guard ourselves from the world we live in. I think that my experience and as a human in this world is that we are too much under pressure of many things, from how many Facebook friends we have, do they like my post, or what will I eat today, very terrible, and also very terrible news I see on the news, on the TV. And all this pressure is constant. You start computer and there is update. Someone always asks you something to do and you can't actually focus on what is actually the reality of the life. We are always somewhere else. We always live in a hurry. We don't stop and we don't think. And I think this guarding of the heart is just trying to remove all this stuff and to put all the world in the order it is actually, not in the flow. Because if you're fish and you just are in the river going down, you can't just understand how it works. But if you're outside and standing and you see how it happens, then you realize what happens. So what is basically on the garden, what will we guard from our heart? And here the heart is not just a feeling like heart that we love something, or the heart is actually the place of our soul, which holds in itself everything about us. It's our thoughts, our beliefs, our spiritual beliefs, our emotional emotions, our intellect, everything. And in that moment we can go behind this world and understand it in a bigger scale. So I was reading these books, these texts. I can say this is right now there are 4 books of Philokalia published, in favor of 5. And actually it's really hard to read it. It's kind of Platonistic philosophy with Christianity actually combined, and it's really hard, and I think I could read maybe few sentences just at once. You can't read just as like text, like Shakespeare, like that. Yeah. So when we guard our heart, you will see the video what I made. This video that I will play is not actually. It's not some artistic video. I know last year the winner was Michael van der A, and he's very good in both video and all this stuff. My video presentation is much more modest, and I didn't have any intention to make it artistically very, very, very high. But what it represents is actually the completely standing away from all worldly cares, and then you finish outside of the planet Earth, somewhere where there is nothing, just maybe you and maybe something or nothing, and then you really can think about the natural order. This is what is point. The fathers who wrote the Philokalia, the so-called Christian fathers, they lived, many of them, in deserts, in North Africa, in some islands in Greece, and so they experienced this loneliness and solitude. Piece is made basically of 14 instruments, but there is piano is quite solistic there, and I tried to make piano as a bit separate from the orchestra as a solo, but also it has a special role in kind of awakening awareness all the time. So you have on the beginning very turbulent sound, and then piano comes inside as you can say as if you try to focus on one thing, you just close your eyes. There are so many things in your head, worries and so on. And then it comes like, stop, don't do it. Just focus on one thing or something. So this piano is makes very much this psychological role in the piece. There are some moments in the piece when we have so much turbulence and everything that the time stops just on one note or one chord. It happens in the middle, well, the beginning of the piece, twice or three times in the middle of the piece, and the really last ending of the piece. And when they repeated for the first time, they asked me, shall we keep this note so long, like just repeating? And I said, yes, but why so long? Maybe we should play it a bit shorter, these repetitions. And I said, no, we can try as I liked, like approximately 1 minute, just we keep one note. And they, okay, we will do it. And then what happened actually, they enjoyed this, and every time when they played like last chord of the piece, they wanted it to last almost forever. They enjoyed it so much, so that they gathered everything what was before in the piece, they put in this last moment. And I also feel that when I listen to it, I feel like I want more, and I really want more to hear this one note, and I really want to hear even more this one note. And this is like really makes some special experience for me. I can say that some people ask me how I composed this piece, because it has a real diversity in itself. It is actually made by almost entire improvisation. I did some, of course, as a composer, I have to think logically to put things in order, but there are some things when you improvise. I'm a professional violinist as well, and I can play piano somehow, but when you improvise, there is another level of order of your composing in real time, actually. Anna Magdalena Bach, wife of Johann Sebastian, she wrote that Bach's improvisations were sounded much better than his compositions, because it was kind of in real time Bach. You know, you can imagine that. And it could last forever, I think. He could improvise one piece forever. The piece, once I was asked I had a lecture in Norway, and there was a question about these spiritual things from a person there. She asked me how it's possible that you speak about, in this piece, about spirituality and so on, but this piece is so turbulent, so much even violent, and she said also that there is beauty in it, of course, but there is no this Takemitsu way of doing, or maybe on Tibet you go and you just get some kind of silence there. My answer is that on the end of spiritual journey we have silence, but not on the way to that, to there, because we have. I experienced this when I developed myself. Then it's very turbulent wave of development. This is not just one way. This is very many obstacles, many difficulties. So it is in the music as well. Many obstacles, many difficulties. The piece has 3 movements. They are not separated so easy, but you will understand the first part is a bit faster, the middle part is slow, and the last part is kind of perpetuum mobile. I think maybe we can now listen to the piece, entire piece. It's 20 minutes long. And then you are welcome with questions, whatever you want to say. Thank you very much. I hope that you enjoyed. I must say personally that it's difficult for a composer to enjoy his own music because sometimes we think, oh, this could I do another way, or oh, this was not good performed, or something else, you know. Or you think, oh, it was the time when I composed this piece, and now my ideas are completely different, so I compose something else. So, but personally, I enjoy this piece very much. Always when I listen to it, it's my personal experience. You are welcome for any questions or comments.
If I understood correctly, you said you composed it in a nearly completely silent environment. When it was performed by live instruments, did it sound like you imagined it would as you composed it? I've heard a number of composers say giving birth to a new piece is like giving birth to a baby. It's a little misshapen here, and it's a little bit bulgy there, and it's a little bit different, but it's alive, you know, and they accept it. David Daltredici said that, to be precise. I'm wondering what that experience was like for you. Did it sound the way you thought it would, and did you
Yes.
tweak it a little bit to get it sound more like you wanted it to sound? You heard it?
There are composers who can write music. For instance, if you're Chopin, you just write prelude, and when he writes this, yes, it sounds like when he plays this. It's very easy. Or the 2-part inventions on piano, you can compose it, and there is no surprise in the concert. If a performer does something completely unusual, you know, that maybe can be bad. But in this case, when it's so complex and so many instruments, I can say that I imagined this music exactly as it was, because of one reason. First reason was that this piano part I improvised and recorded it. I improvised in a certain way so that I know what to improvise, not to miss. All other instruments I also improvised, and I also played on violin or just singing. If you can hear the whistles and singing indoor, it's not so good now on this receivers there, but you can hear. I improvised all the string instruments. I put it in Logic, and it's a music software, yes, so that I could hear it actually. So I was it was almost like what I imagined when they practiced. I was on the rehearsals and they asked me, "Oh, it sounds like that. Is it what you want?" Yes. Actually, it sounds completely like my improvisations. They were very happy. So yes, it sounds like I wanted almost everything. And what I do and what I force my students to develop, my composition students to develop, is the way of listening inside. It means that you can put the score in front of yourself and listen to this score. It's very difficult on the beginning. The first is the timing. So what I did, I have a picture of this piece when I composed. I put all these sheets on the floor, like it was a few meters long, A3 size score, and I put everything, and I went with metronome a few times when I saw, oh, here at this point something is too much, too short or too long. So everything listened and looked at the score and went through the whole score like walking in real time. It means in tempo. So this is really demanding, of course. You get extremely tired, but it's like driving a bicycle, and you get tired after when you start, but when you do it in many years, then it's easy in a way. So, yes.
I'm curious, springing off of that, you said you used Logic. Did the actual music notation then come after that, or did you sort of do it at the same time?
I did it at the same time, I can say. Yes, both. Something I improvised something. There are two moments. Either you can write it exactly as it is, or you can actually write something that is similar to that. What I force myself to do is to find solutions, and I found some solutions that are very uncommon. For instance, string players, they do like triple trills. I haven't seen triple trills. I am a violinist. I have never seen triple trills in contemporary literature. But triple trills with glissando plus tremolo in the right hand gives like hundreds of millions of notes per second. And this is like how I solved some points, some moments in music. Instead of writing all this like Inferno way, all these couplets and thousands of notes, and people who practice for, just miss one note and get stressed of it. So when you have such a good ensemble, they really practice as it is. They don't fake anything. And if I put so much complex music, it will be like much more kind of steel, kind of, this way of playing. As a musician, I want that something sounds difficult, but you perform it in an easy way. Or to say to all my students, put your ideas as much as possible and put your notation as much as possible. Ideas up, notation down when they meet, so you get music that works actually for performance. So, yes.
How is time managed? Is it metered, or is I have a sense of a constant pulse all the way through? Is that how it is?
It's not written in free notation. Everything is written in measured notation. Yes, yes. It's a matter of course, performance. Some music, as Olivier Messiaen, he has 4 different ways of writing the music. One is free measure, free beats, and then measured in different ways. So if it was solo violin, maybe I could make without. But you know, we have 14 instruments placed in different ways, and percussion has so many instruments, and it's easy to get lost in this if it's not measured. Yes.
You know, in European music right now, I can see and feel a lot of music about the text. But it seems to me that a lot of it is very one-dimensional in terms of, okay, there's one effect and it goes to another effect and then it goes to another effect. And, you know, very fluid, one piece is very similar to another. In your piece, I heard something which I call like contextual counterpoint. That many things happen at the same time, and one thing develops out of another, or out of these many layers. Can you give your thoughts about it?
Yes. First, I can say that you are completely right in your opinion. I mean, about European music, and my intention was as a performer. First, this is idea. Like I like to write a piece that is for performance written, not for some computer or some ideals or so. But this is right about this. What you say. I feel that my music is, or my way of thinking is a kind of biology. Like, you know, you have symbiosis and you have chemistry reaction. You know, if you do this, something else that happens there. You know, or DNA. So you have so many things included. You know, DNA. You have the same DNA for the whole system, whole body. But this is the same DNA like your nail or your eye. But how it's possible that this DNA in the eye is different? I mean, makes eye, and this makes nail. So I think in the same way, this develops in different parts of body, actually, in a very biological way. What I do is, when I improvise, for instance, in my head, then I write it down. But this also affects stimulates another part of body, so to say. So it's like pressing here, and then you get red, and then I don't know, eating too much sugar, you get tired. So it's like that. It's more like live inside of the piece than strict focused in mathematical way. I like mathematics, and like Bach. You can analyze it mathematically, but what is Bach is most about music. You don't need Bach you don't need mathematics to understand music. And this is what I think about contemporary music, is how this piece is I had a lot of thoughts about this piece, but the main thing is how to write peace for all people on the planet. And the future and the past people, and the people who understand music, people who don't understand music, my mother, or some child in Cambodia or wherever, you know. So Tchaikovsky is accessible, but Tchaikovsky we don't need to make analysis of Tchaikovsky to be accessible. Like, so how we can make super contemporary music, new music, for all people, not for PhD doctors in mathematics to understand what we wanted to do. You know, this is very common in contemporary music. So a lot of texts, a lot of formulas. It's okay about that. I don't think it's not okay, but it should be just that. It should be for all people music accessible. And I think now about my pieces that I write. I want to write super contemporary music. But I will also think how I can write for old demand people and kids in kindergarten. How can they listen to this piece? And how will they enjoy? This is very, very difficult question, and I tested already with some Messiaen pieces. I have a little boy of 18 months, and I tested on him to test. We listen on radio, Messiaen and Shostakovich and so on, and you see different reactions, you know. So I think that is important for us artists to think in the future for all, not just for ourselves in this moment.
When you started, did you have any idea how long it would be when you got to page 35? Did you know you were practically halfway through? Do you have any sense of the size of the piece as you go along?
When I really started piece, I didn't have any idea. You know, when you have commissioned work, they say it's maybe 10 to 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So I didn't have exactly idea that it could be 1 hour, but I had about maybe shorter piece. I thought it would be shorter, but then it was longer. I think because of these long notes, it was longer.
Any other comments or questions? Well, thank you all for coming. Mr. Zivkovic will be here for the next week, doing various activities, working with our students. I think it's going to be a really wonderful experience for the whole school. So, again, thank you for coming, and let's thank Mr. Zivkovic to you.
Thank you.